become one prime. when the town meeting starts. So. I would drink like 3 cups a day probably.
Right.
And he was drinking like 3 cups. So we would just always make it. So for us, we'd go through a whole pack of K-cups in a day, you know? Now I only drink one, maybe one and a half, but he still drinks 2 or 3. So we just like the taste of it.
Welcome to the July 20th council meeting. Let the record read that the entire council, to include the mayor, are present. Tonight, I'm going to introduce the entire body in the name of Charlie will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. At this time, going to ask if there any public comments on any item on the agenda.
There you go. Now you can hear me. Yes, ma'am. You state your name and address and
My name is Barbara Glover, and I live on Green Valley Drive in Sunderland. I am here as the manager for the food pantry operation at the Ladies of Charity. On behalf of the entire organization, some of which are present tonight, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you as you address another financial contribution to our building campaign. I would also like to publicly acknowledge a recent donation that you made to our organization in the amount of $1,000 in May of this year. And I personally want to thank you and Holly for arranging the use of equipment and the personnel to operate said equipment in June when it was one of the rainiest days in June. We had a food donation of over 38,000 pounds of food in the pouring rain. And we needed to get it off the tractor trailer and into the parking lot from which we moved it into storage. So thank you again for that. A group of us spoke to you back in the fall at one of these meetings, and Holly has included in your town council agenda packet some statistical information. I want to update both of those statistical pictures, if you will, to give you a sense to where our organization is today, particularly with the food pantry operation, because we are seeing an increased need. In comparing the statistics that were before you, that were printed, those are basically looking at calendar year 2021. I'm going to speak to you from fiscal year that ended in June of 2023. We have seen a 25% increase in the number of families that we're serving. We have seen those families come back to us 25% more times. We have been able to give out 25% more food and household products in those visits. We are now averaging giving out over 4,900 pounds of food and household products each week. Looking at a specific day of distribution to give you a sense for that, our longest running day that we are open is on a Tuesday. Tuesday in the first quarter of 2022, we averaged seeing 41 clients. For the past 3 months, so just ended in June, we're averaging 73. So that's a 75% increase in the number of families we're seeing at one distribution. To give you a brief update on our building campaign, I would address the fundraising portion of it. We're at 40% of our fundraising goal, which is at 1.5 million. And as far as construction goes, we have received preliminary drawings from an architect, and we have contracted with a local site engineering company to perform the site analysis and the site plan work. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the other ministry work that we're involved with. Certainly our food pantry operation is the largest, but we gave out nearly $10,000 in direct financial aid to clients in need last fiscal year. We will begin the distribution of school supplies to students within our client families next week. We will be delivering gifts to the residents at Calvert Nursing Center in Prince Frederick. That's scheduled for mid-August. and our weekend meals where we're giving food and snacks to students at Windy Hill, the Windy Hill complex. That will begin again with the onset of the new school year. And of course, the holidays are looming right around the corner, and we will begin in earnest planning for Thanksgiving distribution in August as well. In closing, we celebrated our 55th year in existence here local in May of this year. We would not be where we are today in terms of being able to serve those who knock on our door and ask for help if we didn't have the support of bodies such as yourselves, individuals and neighbors. And we look forward to a future where you continue to support us and working to serve those in need. Thank you.
Thank you. We can give her a hand. All righty. Thank you. Sir, I think we know you.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to be here. My name is Glenn Swanson. I am the senior pastor at Bayside Baptist Church here in Chesapeake Beach, and I'm here to, along with the Ladies of Charity, stand in support of item 12-4 under new business, and like to read a letter, if I may, from our church congregation to the Honorable Pat Mahoney, the members of the Town Council, Town Administrator Holly Wall, staff and community of Chesapeake Beach. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the proposed capital improvement allocation for Bayside Baptist Church located here in the great town of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. It is always a pleasure to partner with our wonderful town in serving the Lord and the community that we so dearly love. We certainly look forward to great days ahead. Being a nonprofit entity, all of our income comes from the donations and generosity of our church, community, and partners. At Bayside, we are dedicated to partnering with and serving our community by providing various services for children, youth, and adults. Much of this ministry is done through our new Transformation Life Center, which, after many setbacks due to the COVID pandemic, was finally able to open in the fall of 2021. Every Saturday, Bayside offers a food pantry for those that are in need in our community. On average, the church assists between 40 to 70 families on a weekly basis, so very consistent with the statistics here. This number fluctuates depending on economic situations and at times has served over 100 families. It is expected this number will increase in the years to come. In addition to Saturdays, families in our community can request food assistance through the week by visiting or contacting the church. We have also equipped ourselves to help with safe nights where churches in the community help house the homeless during the winter months and provide them with food, clothing, and shelter. The Transformation Life Center is equipped with shower and laundry facilities. In addition to our food and shelter ministries, we have an active widow and widower ministry and nursing home and senior care ministry. As a church, we are also praying for the Lord's direction and provision for our orphan care and foster care ministry, and are looking for one day to purchase a home or homes in our community to help foster children. We also have an active disaster relief ministry where we have helped those in our community when natural disasters or disasters have occurred. If there's ever a need, and I just want to make this clear, if there's ever a need for the church to come alongside the town, we are here for you. Our building and our facilities are here for the town on an emergency, a disaster-related event, or anything that you need. Matter of fact, in December, this past December, our church grounds were used as a command post for the Calvert County Sheriff's Office as they searched for a missing child in our community. That evening, our team of volunteers opened up the Transformation Life Center to provide first responders with water, food, and just a place to keep warm and use the restroom facilities as needed. Bayside also has a wounded warrior and military ministry where we help our veterans and those from Walter Reed who have been injured and are going through a crisis situation. In 2006, many of you may know, my nephew, Christopher Swanson, was killed in action while serving on his third tour of duty in Iraq. Our men and women in military, our veterans, and our Gold Star families will always be dear and dear to my heart, and we are honored to walk beside them at Bayside Baptist Church. We also support our community with public appreciation days with our church family taking gifts and cards of appreciation to our police, our fire, our rescue members, as well as various businesses in our community. Each year, we have a Public Servant Appreciation Sunday where we have a time of prayer and thanks for our public servants who so faithfully serve our community with your time and your talents and your gifts and your commitment to help make this a better place to live. We praise God for you, our public servants, and I hope that you'll be able to join us this year when we send the invitation out, hopefully here in the next month or so. One of the fastest growing ministries of Bayside is our special needs ministry. We have found that there is a huge need for service and community for this group of young men and young women and their families. On Wednesday evenings, you will find our 12-9 ministry class actively ministering to young adults with disabilities. Each year, we are also honored to help with Night to Shine event. This is a special prom night experience sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation for Special Needs Youth and Young Adults. This year, we are also able to start a sign language ministry, and on many Thursday evenings at Bayside, you will find youth and adults being trained in ALS. It is our desire to continue being a beacon of light in this town of Chesapeake Beach. While we may send mission teams to places like Guatemala, Bath, Maine, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and right down the road to Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, our primary mission field is right here in Chesapeake Beach. This is the town, this is the city we love. We count it an honor to serve our community and put into practice our church motto, which says, love God, love people. There are many other ministries, as I close out here, of Bayside that we would love to share more about when time allows. But in the meantime, we encourage you to check out our website, come visit us, take a tour of our facilities anytime that you are able. You are always welcome. This week, a matter of fact, right now, this very moment, we have 120 children, youth, and volunteers. I was going to bring them all in here tonight too, but they're up at the church right now, serving in our annual Vacation Bible School. Their mission project happens to be for the week to collect canned goods for the Bayside Food Pantry. It is wonderful that children are being taught the importance of recognizing and helping those that are in need. I want to say thank you again for your consideration of this capital allocation improvement agenda item. Please know that the church congregation at Bayside will continue to be praying for you and the citizens of Chesapeake Beach and our community. If there is anything that I can do for you, any prayer requests that you may have, please do not hesitate to let me know. You can always reach me by email or at the church, and Holly, the mayor, the town has my cell phone. May the Lord bless you and the families of the town of Chesapeake Beach. So I stand today again in support of this item here, and also for the ladies of Charity. It is an honor to work alongside of them and ministering to our community. Together, we are better and we'll make a better community. Thank you.
Thank you. I know my mom is looking down saying, Patty, if you clap for the Catholics, you better clap for the Baptists. You know? Did it, Mom? Is there any other public comment on anything on the agenda this evening? Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, please step up. It's always an honor to see you here on the right side of the dais.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Wasn't sure whether this would be the appropriate time in your agenda. So instead of missing it, I thought I'd come up and say, once again, I'm accompanied by Melissa Gray, who you will recognize as your librarian at Twin Beach Library, to renew our appeal once more for the help from the town of North Beach with the furnishing, equipping of the new Twin Beach Library, a community library which will serve this area, a very large area, Chesapeake area being the largest, and many more students, young people, over the coming 50 years, will be using this facility. And at no time more than now will your contribution be more impactful. As we start the programs, make the purchases necessary to open this facility as a first-class facility for the community of the Twin Beaches. So I stand here to answer any questions.
That's
you have
that's
any.
okay, Mark. We we went through that process. We appreciate your public comment.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Mhm.
Thank you, Melissa. But we better clap for him too. Huh? All right. Is there? Um, I got it. Is there any other public comment on an item on the agenda? Thank you. Hearing none, let's hear from Gary Goldsmith. Not sure you're going to get the round of applause that the other guys got, Gary, but
I'm sure I won't.
I'll clap for you.
And I'm not a public speaker, so. Gary Goldsmith, 8200 Elm Lane. Good evening. I'd like to share a quote with you. I think it's kind of appropriate for this, the reason I'm here. What is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right. Just hold on to that thought. Back in May, I sent the council and the mayor a letter with my concerns over the lack of proper enforcement of the zoning ordinances and town code. You were courteous enough to discuss this at the work session, first work session in June. Unfortunately, I believe that there was a lack of understanding for what really was the problem. And it may have been in the way the memorandum read, it may be in the way that my letter read. And I'm here this evening to try to clarify that. So what I thought, so I wouldn't take up any more time than I'm allowed, is that we'd address this through the memorandum comments. And the biggest one for me is Abner's. This was a learning experience that I didn't expect to have. Normally, Chris is a very thorough and effective zoning administrator, a very talented zoning administrator. But I have found that in certain cases, we have a lax policy on how we actually address the rules of the zoning ordinance and town code for that matter. So in the case of Abner's, Abner had a site permit that was approved by the Planning Commission in 2018, August of 2018. The town zoning ordinance states that if permits haven't been attained in 1 year, that approval expires. This is the case in that document. There was some comment that he was in the process of working through things. That's a zoning permit. That's not an approval for a site plan. That being said, if we accept that there was an allowance for time in that matter, we still have the requirement that what is to be built is only what is on that site plan and by that site plan. And that site plan has included in there lighting. It showed locations for lighting. It showed light fixtures. It showed light poles. Now, page 5 on that document clearly indicates that it was a regular parking lot light fixture, not a floodlight. It clearly indicates the mounting height. We had a 25-foot pole. What we have down there are floodlights, and probably the maximum what was on the drawing was 400 watts. The maximum light fixture of that approved set was 400 watts. While no boxes were checked, let's assume that they were going to go with 400 watt. The light fixtures that are down there are 1,000 watt, and they're floodlights, and they're pointed towards me. Now, the intent there was not to point them towards me. They're pointed towards a water line or whatever, but still, they're not the proper light fixtures. So they are in violation of their, well, I'm sorry, but they don't have a zoning permit. They had a permit with the county, and they were there. If you accept that document, then they're in violation of that document. The site plan clearly states that they will use the type of light fixture they'll use and the height they're going to mount it. And that's what planning commission, and I'm going to speak for them because I know how the process works because I've attended many planning commission meetings in my 23 years here. And they approved that plan, and that's what we're expecting to be put up, not floodlights that are illuminating the atmosphere. There's a lot of light trespass, and this affects wildlife. I've noted in this past 2 years, because of the dredge spoil site and now this, that the migratory birds that normally land on the tidal pond that is out in front of my house aren't there. They haven't been. And it's because of all this lighting and noise that's being created at night and early in the morning. It's a problem. And the real problem is we have to, if we're going to have a policy where we follow an approval, then that we have to have that policy. I guess I'm thoroughly upset that Chris did not follow the procedure. First, he was supposed to record that I had a complaint. Then he was supposed to investigate, and then he was supposed to take action. Well, if the flight fixtures don't meet what was on the approved plan, it's a violation. And he should have been cited. That should be in the file. And how you work things out from there is between the town attorney and the town and Mr. Abner. There are numerous ways to light up that area for safety and for fishing and for all the things that were commented on the night that we had this discussion, or you had this discussion. But planning and zoning, the commissioners, they discussed all this. This was all in their heads when they were reviewing. And if there was some concern by Mr. Abner about safety and things, and he wanted to use floodlights, it should have been on that drawing. It should have been on that that approval. Now, the zoning ordinance does not, when the review that's required does not allow light to escape from that area. It's supposed to be something that's supposed to be reviewed by the planning commission and whoever's approving the drawings. So those fixtures would never have been allowed, and they need to go away. There's the issue with parking on Elm Lane. That's the second step of this. The requirements that are in the zoning ordinance clearly state that these are the minimum requirements, and that there's no, every house has to have that two part parking on their lot. And besides being important that we follow the ordinance, when you diminish the area for parking, that person who bought that house, very nice gentleman, I don't remember his name, but he had problems because he was parking on the street, which brought up another town code issue. But when parking in the street, he was blocking some of the people in the neighborhood from getting their driveways because all the driveways are uphill on the opposite side of the street, and it's a very narrow street. And it's because he didn't have additional parking. Had this been installed per the code and per the approved zoning permit and site plan, he would have had 4 parking places, 2 in the driveway and 2 that's required on the site. And we wouldn't even have that problem. So you're still, when you diminish something like that, you're stealing from the person buying the home, and you're robbing the neighborhood, because the neighborhood doesn't need people parking on the street that could have and should have been in the driveway. So I'm running out of time. I appreciate that you giving me that time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, approval of the minutes of the June 15th Town Council meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of the July 11th special town meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the July 11th informational work session.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next, we have a special presentation on Become One project. I think Who drew the shortest straw? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anita Santoyo, and this is Amanda Kirby, and we are with the Become One Project.
And we thank you for having us tonight.
There we go. The Become One Project is a mental wellness organization that works on mental wellness issues within our community as well as our youth. We've done lots of creative projects within our school system as well as for the larger Calvert County. Last year, we did the first mental health and suicide awareness walk Calvert County ever had. We did that at Jefferson Patterson Park within a 40-day time frame. We planned it, and we had over 100 people attend. Our second annual walk will be here at the Bird Trail Walk here in Chesapeake Beach on September 23rd. We're looking forward to having it here in Chesapeake Beach. And Amanda is here because she is a part of the Become One Project, but her story was our inspiration. And so I wanted to give her a chance to talk.
Thank you.
So again,
Welcome.
thank you for having myself and Anita and the Become One Project here. The walk was inspired to have our first annual walk in Calvert County last year in September. In 2016, I lost my son, Tyler Bland, to suicide. He was a student at Huntington High School and was in the 10th grade. From that point, we've done various things. We did a documentary that we have placed out on YouTube. We have made, Prevention Week within the school system, did a gallery to travel through the school systems as well to inform how to do mental wellness. For me, it is very important because I feel like mental health for our community members, our youth, our fire department, our police department, and suicide prevention and awareness is very important. We have lost not only my son, but too many along the way. My son has been gone now 7 years this past May, but I will continue to bring awareness and prevention here in Calvert County. Calvert County is my home. I grew up here in Chesapeake Beach and attended schools here. So it is my job as his mom and as a community member in this county to continue that and to bring this awareness and to show our community that we do support them. And there are resources out here. Last year, in a 40-day time frame, we provided resources. We did it all pro bono. We didn't ask for any donations. And we had, such a good turnout. And we really appreciate you all allowing us to bring this here at your beautiful, very scenic walkway here in Chesapeake Beach.
Well, if you don't mind, just stay there for a minute. I want to thank you for reaching out to us. I think the idea of having a walk in our town for this cause, it's great, and we really owe you, for that. I think that I guess I'm going to speak, for myself. I can't speak for the other 6 members of the council, but I think between the pandemic and the constant awareness, if you will, from Councilman Pardick, mental health has really come to the forefront of what this council, likes to address and talk about, something that I really never heard talked about at a town council meeting until then. So I do want to thank you, and I want to thank Keith, because we're all aware now, and that's why we're so excited about you coming, into town. I'm happy that you're holding up well, and that you're still here to support your lad. I mean, that's important. The spirit never goes.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm going to take this time, obviously not any questions, but if the council does have a comment that they wish to share, this might be an appropriate time, if you like. And if that's the case, I'll start with Councilwoman Hartman and the way around.
Thank you. I'm pleased that you're having the walk here. I hope if there's some infrastructure help we can do for you, you will let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for doing this. I chair the Opioid Abuse Awareness Committee and have for the last 6 to 7 years now. And all these things are so closely
Yes, they
tied:
are.
mental health, addiction, And so we've really been trying to raise awareness here in the Twin Beaches area. And just a question for you. One, do you have resource providers participating in the event as well?
So last year, Calvert Behavioral Health wanted to partner with us, but they were doing their recovery walk on the same day Jefferson Patterson was letting us do the event. So it's expected that they'll be with us this year. AFSP was there, and they actually championed the walk above a lot of other walks just because of what happened there that night. We had this walk is a little bit different than any other walk. Number one, it's the only one in Calvert County. Calvert County has never had a walk before. If anyone was suffering the loss of suicide, they had to go to St. Mary's or to Charles or to Anne Arundel. They could never do it in their home county. So that was number one. Number two, we actually had people speaking who were survivors of family members that we lost to suicide. We had people who were leaders in our community, but basically were struggling with suicide. So a lot of people were kind of walked into the world of what they're facing. So it was a little bit different, and it's free to anybody. That was one of the things with Become One.
And we're open to resources because, as you said, that they all collaborate together.
Yeah.
And we are open, to those resources. For us too, I think it takes great strength, and it shows support when others share their stories. So that was a big turning point for us too, because, so many willing to share their stories. And, we did, offer the resources, and that was a great turnout, and people really expressed that. Plus we had activities to where others could remember their loved ones, or remember show support to the ones that are struggling. Had, little activities for the children too that did attend. And, of course, let everybody leave with inspirational, takeaways. Support rocks that they had with inspirational meanings, gave them seeds that they can plant, wildflowers, to show others. And then, of course, it was like a little care package, and we did it in the evening. So it was kind of like the ambience of, the evening time, and it was a little cooler. So
Yeah, the walk is called One More Light.
One More Light,
Basically,
yes.
the message that each one of us can be that one more light for somebody in need.
So we're having an event on the 31st, which is International Overdose Awareness Day, the Glow Vigil.
Yes.
And so if you are interested, please feel free to attend that. You can share some more of your information about your organization there if you would like. What we do, we have an agenda that we do, for the event itself, but we also have resource providers who are focusing primarily again on addiction kind of services, recovery, outreach, awareness, but also the Calvert County Local Behavioral Health Authority and their prevention services group are also there, and they talk about the whole suite of health services that are available for folks. But if you are interested at all, please let me know.
Most
For
definitely.
sure,
Yeah.
most definitely.
Okay. And if we could also, participate in yours if that sounds
Yeah, we are
reasonable.
totally
open.
open
Yes.
to
Okay.
anyone in
Okay.
the community who would like to be a resource for another.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can trade information to
Yes.
communicate. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One More Life. Wow.
One More Light. Sorry.
One More Light.
Yes.
Well, One More Life too.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story about your boy. My son's best friend committed suicide when he was in 11th grade. It's probably been 5 years and still cuts pretty deep. Forever will cut deep. Looking forward to your event on the 23rd. I'm hoping that I can participate. I'm certainly wishing you fair weather and learning more about your organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. In some way, I believe we've all been impacted. Appreciate you stepping forward with this program to try to help people. So, Thank you. And please let the council know if there's anything we could do to support you.
I sort of echo what's been said so far. It's great to see you guys out, and I could go through it, person here, and I lost, but I think Councilman Jaworski sums it up pretty well when he says everyone is touched by addiction, by depression, by whatever else leads to these tragedies, and so I salute you guys for being out there working on it, and as has been said, let us know what we can do. Thanks.
I'll just say, I feel blessed that you're here. And I feel blessed that you've provided the grace upon our town to help not just the walk, but you. And so thank you for providing us as a town this opportunity for this program. And like was said, any support that can be provided, especially I think via advertising would be one method. We're lucky to have you. And thank you for what you're doing, because it's got to be immensely difficult. And to do it for year after year. Like I said, we are blessed to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. Thank you, Reverend Hahn. Thank you. Okay. Feel like I need a break after that. Town administrators report. The council has read the town administrators report. If we do have any questions of Holly, I'll start with Councilwoman Hartman and work my way around the horn, as I say.
I just had a quick question. We were talking about in page 1, the park RFP, and I know that the state doesn't require that anymore, that we have a pre-bid meeting, but we'll still have pre-bid meetings, right? Things. Okay, great. Because, we can still give out information and it can still be part of the evaluation that they attend or not. Okay, fantastic. And then on page 3, the Sustainable Maryland designation, is there specific benefits?
Yes,
And
there
could you elaborate?
Sure. So being a Sustainable Maryland designated community opens the door for grant opportunities for the town. It also opens the door for additional resources. So right now we're in the process of our energy audit, and that's being provided to us free of charge through University of Maryland students through our Sustainable Maryland designation.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then let's see, page 8. This is similar between you and Josh. Was there any feedback from BG&E regarding the surge?
Josh, did you want to cover that?
I haven't reached out to BG. It was just an instantaneous thing. It could have been simply just tree branch or something like that. Split second, and that's the only thing that correlates to that time.
Okay. I was just curious. Thank you. Because it was disaster. And then on page 10, on Kelms Field, stealing, Councilman Morris's thunder. Is there any idea when we would get a response for the variance request that we put in?
We're hoping to get a response next week. We have the request going over to the county on Monday, and they had promised a quick turnaround. So we're hoping to hear back next week. We do have the RFP already drafted and ready to go out. So we should be very quick on that moving forward.
Oh, fantastic. A week. Imagine. Fingers crossed. And then I just wanted to congratulate on page 11, the Chesapeake Beach water staff for their quick action helping the young child. And I thought that was a really spectacular thing. It shows our training having effect. And I think the ability to control the crowds and oversee them with our population, I thought that was wonderful. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple questions. So on page 3, under the federal dredge work status, in that second paragraph, that there's not enough remaining funds to continue work there. And is there any more information on when that might take place in the future?
Yes, so from our coordination meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers and the state, it was determined that it would be an estimated cost of about $3 million is needed to finish the project. So we've made some contact with some different legislators to try to secure that money. But in terms of a time frame of when that would be complete, we do not have that at this time.
And just as I was thinking about that, part of the cause for the Fishing Creek to silt up so quickly was thought to be the fact that those rock berms were low now and waves and silt was washing over. So there is a possibility that the longer it takes, the quicker we'll silt up again, right? Yeah. That's a shame, definitely, after just getting it dredged to kind of be in this position. And thank you. That was my question there. And then on page 7, there's some photos there of the clear well. And I was just kind of curious what that material was on the right side that's over top.
Wayne, did you want to address that? That's the filter covers.
Mm-hmm.
Steel or aluminum grade for top of well with a rubberized mat. You looking at page 7?
Yes, page 7. Mm-hmm.
The green on the right hand side are the active green ones.
And then okay, go ahead.
See below where it says clear well with the steel grade underneath it?
Yeah.
That's actually underneath it. That's green mat.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I saw the steel on it. It's like, is that plastic? I appreciate the description.
You. Mr.
Questions
Munch.
for me, sir? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Page 1 on the pocket parks. So we received the sealed proposals on July 13th. Any updates when we might be able to make an award?
We're hoping to this evening.
Sorry?
We're hoping to this evening.
This evening?
Yes.
Cool. I'm good for that. And then under the safe walkway along 261 near the fire department on page 2, this might be an update coming from Walkable Communities, but it says Walkable Communities provided an update on this project. Any updates to share?
This is in reference to, this is our standing list that we have for our Walkable Community Group to keep that update going. So in terms, right.
Holly updates us.
Yeah.
Wayne,
Okay.
did you want to provide any update on the safe walking?
Okay.
Let me get an update.
I'm good. Just looking forward to the Jaworski Memorial Walkway there. Page
Spell it right too, but you do that.
Page 3 under the energy audit, which is also very important to the town as part of our Sustainable Maryland. Any target date and when that audit by University of Maryland might be done?
Last week, it was about 2 weeks out. So
Okay.
I would expect us to have that very soon.
Great. And thank you for submitting the renewal application for Sustainable Maryland as part of our climate change advisory group. That's a very important component of that. On the dredge work, I was part of that discussion, and the tentative schedule that the Corps gave us was maybe mid to late next year, but they got to get the funding in place. So we'll see. Under Public Works, just curious, any update on painting of the water tower? It seems to be hanging out there for quite a while.
I've actually had 2 contractors come out on site, do some measurement stuff. They're supposed to be getting us a proposal. I would think we'd have something before next council.
Great. On the water reclamation plant, how'd the partnering meeting go? Any issues come up from our partners?
I'll start with that. So we had a good partnering meeting. We talked a lot about flow. Josh has been tracking variable flow with weather events in great detail. And so we have been reviewing that. We talked to Calvert County government about their hardwired flow measuring devices. So myself, Jay, and Josh attended that to hear more details. And we also included the town of North Beach. Josh, have I missed anything on that?
Because I know we had some concerns about infiltration inflow coming in from our user communities. Are we moving forward on addressing that?
That's correct. North Beach came with some repairs that they have made in June, which we're hoping to see some impact and decrease I&I.
Very good. Again, thank you for a very thorough and detailed report. I always enjoy reading these. So thanks.
Ain't touching that one.
Any update on the Moonshot missions discussions?
I don't think we heard anything additional from Moonshot. No.
No. Okay. Just keep me posted on that. As I've mentioned to you, I know George Hawkins very well. I'm on page 9 now. We did have an issue needing to use the shellfish protection tank. It was made with MDE. Have we gotten any follow-up from MDE?
MDE did reach out to us. There's no concern with what had occurred with the bypass. The technical, the nutrients and everything from the lab tests did not exceed the permit at all. In fact, they actually made a comment. The only one that went up was their total suspended solids from what we normally have. Normally we're around a 0.7 to a 0.8. We were at a 4. The state actually made the comment that they wish most plants could maintain that on a regular basis. Our limit for total suspended solids is actually 45 for the max week. And we were at a 4 with a degraded state.
Great. Thank you. And then I know this is mentioned in the town engineer's report, but any other updates on the status of the Headworks project, when we might be able to go forward with that?
We are going forward. I had a progress meeting with the designer on Monday. They expect to have a draft concept to us sometime in September.
September, great. And then just two last things. One is I will comment under my climate change advisory group on the coastal resiliency grant, and I'll also provide some comments under economic development on Taste the Beaches. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Fink.
So a lot of my questions have been answered. I'm going to run through them quickly, and then I have an overarching question. So you covered what safe routes to school. Can you provide any details on what modifications the state requested? I mean, we don't need to be here all night, but can you give us a summary?
There's quite a few. Actually, some of it is related to cost estimating charges. So breaking out estimating for labor charges. Some of it is just coming in alignment with their new requirements to not have a mandatory pre-bid meeting. We have a tentative meeting set with the state for the week of August 7th. Wayne and I to talk through some of these changes so that our goal is that when we submit it back to them, hopefully we're not waiting for them to review it again and it still not meet the needs. So we're hoping to be able to go through it line by line and make sure we're catching everything that they would like so they could approve it.
Okay. So we're hoping for one round of changes.
Yes.
Prior to argue with. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Pocket parks you've already expanded on. I had a quick question about the Miller Loveless Park at Kellums. You talk about the stormwater mitigation that we're doing. That's all good. Does the climate resiliency plan impact what we're planning to do there?
So it has been built or designed to be built to the tot lot, is what you're referring to sustain storm flooding and sea level rise. So the purpose of that is to elevate it, install additional storm drainage to remove the water from that area and route it appropriately. So I would say that the improvements are addressing the coastal resiliency issues as well.
Okay. On the Sustainable Maryland designation, I just want to do a quick shout out to, all the things listed here are committees that everyone's active on, which is really cool. Walkability, well done, Green Team. That's kind of cool. I don't know that without in the absence of those committees, we would have that. If that's already been covered, I got one last comment on page 12. I love the National Night Out, and encourage people to go out to that. I assume there'll be a number of sheriffs there for that. That's great. And I think it's awesome that we're going to Admirals. Looking forward to that. Maybe that'll be the start of something that rotates or whatever. But that's really good. So good work to the Taste Beaches group and the Economic Advisory group. Everything else I'd written down have been covered, but I have an overarching question. And this is a great report. It's also a consolidated report. So on one hand, that's great. Did I miss a memo that this is sort of a new SOP? If I did, just say, yes, you did, and I'll go back and find it. Okay.
It's okay. He said, okay, we're good.
Okay. It does raise a minor concern that is something for us to consider, which is a huge amount of consolidated responsibility and dependence on one person. I know you're not writing this report, but it's a lot under one umbrella, and I'm probably not telling anyone anything they don't know, just something to be aware of. That's it.
We have a world-class staff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had some questions regarding dredging. That was taken care of then on page 5. Regarding the meeting that occurred on July 19th. Last sentence under section 6, it says, and future connections running to the TBWRTP. And so I was wondering, is there any large expected growth, if you will, via any of our partners? So a large number of connections that will be utilized.
The next largest project, it would probably be the Highlands. So that was part of our conversation with Calvert County and North Beach in terms of the logistics on how the Highlands would be connected to the treatment plant.
Can you give an update on where that is when it comes to connecting the Highlands to the wastewater treatment plant?
Yes, so we have about 250 homes that would be coming online. The design plans have not been shared with us yet. So that was part of our conversation that we would sit down and have a more in-depth conversation to understand how they were going to bring the connections to the treatment plant. So we're in early phases. I believe, though, that they do plan to complete the project in 2025.
All the preliminary stuff has been completed, correct? Like there were town meetings and so forth, and getting concurrence or some kind of buy-in from the local residents up there and the costs that they would then ensue. And so all that sort of like groundwork has been taken care of and everyone's on board to have this happen, correct?
Correct. That was conducted through Calvert County government. The Highlands petitioned them for a special tax district, and that has been approved. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to get an update on that part. Thank you on that. Then I also took note of the water park staff, and that should not be minimized. The fact that they were able to help a child that lost consciousness prior to entering the park or before the water at least, but that's really something to be commended and not glossed over. Most everything else that I had written down, they've already covered, whether it be the dredging or what have you. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Next, Town Treasurer's report. We've read the report. If we have any questions of the Treasurer, I'll begin on this side with Councilwoman Bodak.
No, just an observation that it really is wonderful to have the ARPA funds there as a reconciliation. It just keeps things in perspective instead of us having to continually ask. So thank you.
I echo that. Nothing additional. Thank you.
Just building on that, I mean, even with the steps that we're going to be voting on tonight, if they passed, we still have almost $4 million of ARPA funds available to us. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no comments. Thank you. No comments. Thanks.
Echo my colleagues. I like the running total. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Like I said, we have a world-class staff out there. Town engineers report. We have read the town engineers report. If we do have any questions, I'll ask Councilwoman Hartman to pose those.
I have no further questions on this. Thank you.
No questions here either. Thank you. No questions for Wayne.
All my questions on this report were answered under the town administrator's reports. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of echo that as well. That's part of, the town administrator's report. There's a lot of overlap, obviously. So that's all good. Can you just at a high level give me maybe a scale of 1 to 10 how satisfied you are and how satisfied Jay is with the heritage? You know, the notion that we're gonna turn that over pretty soon.
Sure. Very satisfied, although have some future longevity concerns. So we'll be having that conversation with them. They did some improvements that weren't necessarily up to what we expected. We made them go back and tear them out. So we may ask for some extended warranty on those items, but otherwise very happy. Remaining items we have to concern ourselves with are really the county's issues, but we want to make sure that the town is protected as we move forward.
Yeah, I know we've kind of learned as we went. I've heard Councilman Morris talk a lot about Richfield Station, and it's good to know that we are on it. You guys say it's good. That's more than good enough for me. But I kind of wanted to understand that a little better. So thank you.
No questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next, the Sheriff Twin Beach Deputies report. We've read the report. If we do have any questions, I'll begin with Councilwoman Boda.
No real questions. Just how's the summer going? Is there anything that we should be aware of or advertise when it comes to public safety?
No, nothing serious comes to mind at all. It's going pretty well. So the fireworks went well. No arrests. No, not even a traffic accident.
Music to our ears. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just two quick questions on the burglary report. Can you just talk a little bit? I mean, they're juveniles, maybe you can't, but we 12-year-olds broke into the elementary school.
Well, they broke into the new under construction one, which is
okay.
pretty easy to get into,
Pretty easy,
and we
more
caught them
appealing.
riding out of there on bicycles, and so they weren't charged with anything. We just dealt with that through informing their parents, and that's it. No damage or theft or anything like that. I think they were exploring, so.
I might have done that when I was 12. Statute of limitations is expired.
I don't know.
But thank you for that. And then the only other question I had was about the death investigation. Is there anything to elaborate there? Just that's a vague.
That
statement.
is someone, I could give you the name. He is someone who has a lot of medical issues, and it was no foul play or anything
Was it?
unusual.
Okay, and not overdose related.
Not overdose related. It was a series of chronic medical issues. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No further questions. Stay safe. Thank you.
Councilman.
Yeah, as Councilman Fink mentioned, I probably did some exploring when I was young too, and I
Sure.
appreciate the leniency shown to me, and I learned from it. So, stay safe, your entire group. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, thank you for your service. No questions.
Thank you.
No questions. Stay safe.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Have a good evening. North Beach Volunteer Fire Department, as always, if we have any questions, we can address them to Larry at any given time.
Mr. Mayor, may I offer a couple
Please.
comments? One is on behalf of the town, I'd like to offer the town's condolences to Chief Chris Mills on the sudden passing of his brother, who was also a lifelong member of various fire departments, and there'll be a service at the firehouse tomorrow. So you may notice some increased traffic there. On a lighter note, planning is progressing for the department's 100th anniversary. Many of you may know, no one was around except Mayor Frazier. It was incorporated on August 4th, 1926. So we'll keep you posted on the planning for that. Thank you.
Where are we going?
Huh?
That's right. Okay.
That's it.
I'm sorry. Okay. So next, mayor's report. I want to thank all the community leaders here in the audience who were here earlier for all you do to improve our lives here in the beach. And by the beach, I mean Twin Beaches. And for joining us up here on the dais. So the theme of my report is going to be public service. I attended 2 events today. I just left an event for Senator Jackson, and I want to thank him for his support for keeping the Twin Beaches at the forefront of State Circle up in Annapolis, just as Senator Miller did. It's always a good thing when State Highway knows where we live. And these past few weeks, we've seen State Highway repairing our sidewalks to improve handicap accessibility, so those who are confined to a wheelchair can get around safely. What two beautiful small towns we have right here for all. Joggers, walkers, moms with baby strollers, and those in wheelchairs, all buzzing around town. I like to call it strolling and rolling, or walking and wheeling. I also attended the viewing for Lieutenant Billy Mills, local guy, a career firefighter. Billy left us way too early at the age of 58 after courageously battling multiple bouts with cancer. That was a direct result of his career choice as a firefighter. The legendary tale that he would never tell was that one day he was driving to work, he spotted a burning home. Not dressed in his fire protection gear, he ran into that burning home and he saved a few lives. Billy Mills is a fallen hero, and he is the fabric of what makes our community special. He left this world too early at the age of 58, so others could continue to live on this planet. That's a hero, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank each of you in the audience, the town council, the mayors and councils who preceded us, not for being great people, but for, as leaders, supporting the basic needs of our community members. Put food in their bellies, protect them, educate them, give them books and a library, recreation, healthcare. By that I mean mental, physical, and spiritual, family advocacy, and hospice care. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate that. Next, we'll vote on ordinance O-23-16, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach to amend the language of the Chesapeake Beach Code regarding design standards for townhouses. We did work this issue extensively in a work session last week. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. I have to have a comment though. about it.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. What is your comment, sir?
Yeah, well, actually, second to approve, maybe that was the wrong order there. We have received some compelling letter very recently from Wesley Donovan. And I am in support of the ordinance generally. He's bringing some important questions to the table. It is kind of at the 11th and a half hour to bring those questions, but I move that we vote on both ordinance 16 and 17, 1 month to have planning and zoning, as well as town hall, consider the compelling concerns forwarded recently by Wesley Donovan and the effects that he's laid out. Out of order, probably.
That was a motion to table it.
But he would need a second.
Okay. Would the council like to discuss the motion to table? I'll begin with Councilwoman Bodine.
Yeah, having listened to the planning and zoning discussions over a series of months that these were being developed, I think they took due consideration. Then we had a complete work session. So I'm perfectly fine voting on these with the amount of discussion, extensive discussion that has occurred. And so I won't support a motion to table.
I agree.
I feel that we have covered the topic, but I am intrigued by the notion that there is a desire to have further discussion, and maybe we will learn more. I think I would support that. In particular, in this case, delaying the ordinance a month is not going to change anything. If we don't make changes to the ordinance, it's not imminent. It's not as if this has to happen yesterday. So I might support that motion. I would like to hear a little bit more, maybe when Councilman Morris comes around, since he made the motion, of thoughts you have about how the ordinance might change. If that's premature, I don't mean to put you on the spot. So if it's premature, feel free to pass on that.
I supported the motion to table it just because I thought there were some interesting questions raised in Mr. Donovan's submittal that I would appreciate hearing from planning and zoning on their responses to those issues that he raised before we move forward with this. So both 23-16 and 23-17.
And for the record, I don't support the table. I think planning and zoning is a wonderful board. They're volunteers. They work into the wee hours of the evening for 0 cents to work these projects. You only need to listen to their meetings to understand what is going on. We certainly think we had a 3.5 hour work session where we as a council discussed this. I think as Councilman Morris said, when you come in at the 11th and a half hour and say, you take all this work that the volunteer body did, all this work that the council did, say, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, it's your meeting starts in a couple of minutes, but I'd like you to table it, which would basically be for 2 months. Part of running a town is moving forward. It's taking care of your business and moving forward and addressing the next business, because Lord knows we have a lot of business in this town. And so for that reason, I don't support the table. If it's a tie, I won't break the tie to support it. And we have a democracy here, so we'll see how that works.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate those comments. Appreciate the councilwoman's comments too. Anybody that knows me, I'm all in with advancing town business. That's definitely been one of my 5, leading lights, if you will. Having experienced the other side of the dais for nearly a decade before being elected, Councilman Jaworski said it plainly. I'm interested in the questions that he's bringing there. We did just receive this about 24 hours ago. And again, I'm in support of the ordinances as they're written. I'm not trying to change anything in particular. But out of an abundance of due diligence and caution and reverence to important partner in town, it seems like it might be prudent.
Sure. I support moving forward and not tabling it. I think the Planning and Zoning Commission has done a great job. We've had a lot of time to discuss this and go over it. And I also feel that if there is an issue, we can always go back and change it. So with that, that's all I got to say.
I also do not support tabling it for very same reasons as my colleagues. I think there has been a lot of discussion. I think we could discuss it ad infinitum. I think there will always be something that somebody would like just a little bit different and just a little bit changed. So I do not support tabling it. I think we should go forward.
Okay, very good. Now it's time to vote. So we have a motion to table. We have a second. All those in favor, please. The motion was for both. Yes. Okay. Okay. So we, as I said, we have a motion to table both ordinances. We have a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
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 That would be a tie. I vote no. Okay. So back to where we were. We have a motion to approve and a second for ordinance O-23-16. All those in favor of ordinance O-23-16, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
And the ayes have it. Vote on ordinance O-23-17, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach to amend the language of Chesapeake Beach zoning code to add a new section 290-23, standards of compatibility. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Once again, it passes. Okay, thank you. Next, vote on O-23-18, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach to amend the language of the Town Code of Chesapeake Beach regarding urban forest. I believe we'll get a motion to pass in a second, and we have an amendment and we'll do it in that order. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councilman Pardick.
Yeah, a motion to amend.
Move to amend, sir.
So on section 112-2 applicability, I have drafted a change there on part B1. And I think all of you got a copy of this in your packets, but basically right now B1 reads trees on private property with trunks that measure at least 50 inches in circumference at 4.5 feet above ground level. And I'm proposing to change that to trees on private property with trunks that measure at least 50 inches in circumference at 4.5 feet above ground level if located less than or equal to 50 feet from a public street or sidewalk. And the reason for that is because there is a B1 and a B2, and the language of B2 suggests that the originator of this ordinance wanted it to be a little less stringent the further away you got away. So I just added that language in there to make it make sense, because if you didn't, then 1 precludes 2 because it's included in it.
Okay, so you wish to comment on the amendment?
Mhm.
Please do.
Keith and I had a conversation about this as the chair of the Green Team, and I consider this a friendly amendment and more than appropriate, and I fully support it.
It's like you say, it's a friendly amendment that I know the council members that have been working on this have got together and made an amendment because it's required. We good?
Yeah, as I understand it, it in no way changes what planning and zoning intended. So it seems it's reasonably large support.
Right.
No objections.
Okay, so we have an amendment and a second. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. So now we're back to the actual ordinance O-23-18 as amended. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, there is a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are we sure? Okay. Great job, Councilman Pardick. Great job, Dr. Bodine. Vote on ordinance O-23-19, an ordinance to Town Council of Chesapeake Beach to amend the language of the Town Code of Chesapeake Beach regarding Chapter 22 elections. We worked this. We had with Randy Getman, our chair. I think we all remember that it was basically just, they need time to rest on election day. that's the they can't do. You get a volunteer, they say, I'm not working 16 hours in a row. I need a rest. So that's pretty much it. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Have to take care of our volunteers. Vote on ordinance O-23-20. Ooh, I read this before. Okay, someone owes me something cold to drink when I'm done this meeting. Vote on ordinance O-23-20, an ordinance to Town Council of Chesapeake Beach to amend the code of Chesapeake Beach by repealing and reenacting with amendments sections 25-25.1, 25-3B, 25-5, 25-12, 25-16A, 25-21B, 25-23B, 25-27B, 25-30, 25-31, 25-32, 25-33, 25-34, 25-36, 25-37, and 25-38, and repealing sections 25-35, 25-39, and 25-40, and adding new sections 25-20F and 25-38. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Lastly here, introduce ordinance O-23-21, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending Article 3, zoning district subsection 290-10, land use table, and subsection 290-11, conditions and standards for conditional and special exception uses. I set the public hearing for September the 21st at 6:55 p.m. Reports of officers. Okay, let me see. We have some reports. Let me jump down to Climate Change Advisory Group, if that's okay with Sue. Okay. Okay, climate change.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
The Coastal Resiliency Task Force and Steering Committee introduced draft coastal resiliency plan. Have it here, it's available online. Where you're sitting down and introduced at the work session on July 11th. Copies are available on the website. Please submit any comments on the draft plan. The Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee will hold its next meeting here in Town Hall on Thursday, August 10th at 6 p.m. Comments are invited. Our neighbor Twin Beach community of North Beach adopted Resolution 23-08 at their last council meeting on July 13th. This resolution approves and adopts the 2023 North Beach Compound Flood Action Plan. Our towns continue to coordinate with each other on our respective efforts. That's why I have Co-Chair Keith. Anything to add? Thank you.
Okay, very good. Stay right there, Larry. EDC.
Economic Development. The County Economic Development Authority met on July 10th. Discussion items included updates on Economic Development Act loans, status of several new businesses planning to move to the county, and an update on the status of the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan revisions. Next meeting is tentatively scheduled for August 14th. The County Economic Development Advisory Commission met on July 12th. Discussion items included proposed text amendments to county zoning ordinance, vacancies on the advisory commission. Currently, there are 2 vacancies, and an update on the study of feasibility of a Bay passenger ferry. The group working on this study, the Bay passenger ferry, has tentatively scheduled a visit to possible stops for the ferry, including Chesapeake Beach, on Tuesday, August 22nd. Details will be shared when we get them. And finally, on the Economic Development Advisory Commission, I was reelected to serve another term as chair.
Congratulations.
Moving on, as discussed in the town administrator report, since we are not scheduled to have a council meeting in August, it is important to put on everybody's calendars that Taste the Beaches will be held Saturday, September 9th, noon to 5. The event will be located at Abner's Crowd House. Food will be provided by Abner's, Bahia Costa Italian Kitchen and Wine Bar, and other local restaurants. There will be entertainment and local vendors. So come on down, make sure it's on your calendars. And my last time I regret to announce that Councilmember Morris has stepped down as co-chair of our committee. Thank you, Greg, for your years of service on economic development. All I have, thank you.
I don't have any trepidation about saying on behalf of the Green Team, thank you for your support on the urban forestry ordinance that just passed. It's one step more towards our desire to become a Tree City USA and help our environment in real practical, tangible ways. So I just want to say thank you. And saying that, do look forward to the movement at Tree City USA. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, July 26th at 6:30 at the Pavilions. And please consider coming out and joining. I think through the actions of the past year, you'll see that we have quite an active committee and we're making real change. And so thank you. That's all I have.
Revitalization.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Larry for being on that committee with economic development. It was a privilege meeting with you, especially earlier on during the first term. You know, we did a lot of work to determine certain things weren't viable. We learned a lot of lessons, and it's been an honor to serve with you. And I look forward to having additional meets with you and talking about town business. I'm always I strive hard to make myself available to always talk town business. Regarding the Kellums, I've had trepidations about Kellums for a while. I have felt for a while that I can't faithfully serve the town taxpayers with the way the town hall is operated in and around its administration of the Kellums improvements. It includes the handling of the Bucks organization. That was very difficult sailing through that with the Bucks there. And, I agree with a lot of the things that we did there when the Bucks showed up. The mayor showed some good leadership there with them. I think that the way that we've handled the Bucks over there has really shaken the youth sports organization in this area. For those reasons, I've asked Councilman Fink to give the Kellums Committee report today to assess, in the future, to assess the vitality and the meaningfulness of the Kellums Improvement Committee in the long term. And that is why tonight I'm stepping down from that appointment. So, Councilman Fink.
I'd like to touch on 2 points, I think, as it relates to Kellums. The first one is, Greg kicked off the committee. I was serving on that committee as a volunteer before I was even involved in council, and I appreciate the opportunity and working with you. So I'm sorry to see you go, and I hope we're able to keep you engaged over time. So stay tuned for that. I don't have any big report. Most of what's happening at Kellums is part of some of the same challenges that Councilwoman Hartman will enumerate in walkability, in that some projects are in holding patterns and or in a state of us trying to get things moving forward. And it'd be foolhardy for us to, put a bid out to build a gazebo before we've properly, I'm using that as a hyperbolic example, obviously, before we've properly mitigated. Yeah, there'll be a lesson after the thing. It'll be at Traders. I lost my train of thought. It would be silly for us to be investing. It'd be silly for us to be investing in what we're going to build specifically until we mitigate some of the issues that we've inherited with the area. I do think it's an opportunity to revisit Kellums along with the water park, along with some other town amenities, and possibly to create or adjust the committees in a way that links all of those things together. So stay tuned for that. That's all I have. Thanks.
Yes. And I actually wanted to cover this in my town administrator's report verbally, but there's a lot of exciting things that are actually happening at Kellums Field right now. I met with the Kellums Revitalization Committee about 3 weeks ago, and the committee made some great recommendations for some additional games at the field. So as you know, the field is open 7 days a week. Prior, it had really been closed off. So it is open to the public, and we now have accessible different games, Frisbee golf, bossy ball, probably not saying those correctly, but those are all available at the field that you can use. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. There's actually a lot of kid groups going out there and playing kickball in the middle of the day, flying kites. So it is a great asset, and some exciting changes are happening. Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just follow up on that real quick. I didn't mention those items because I knew that, we've talked about them. I knew they were in progress, but I don't think everything, I was not aware that everything's kind of here and installed and ready to go. And I think there's some follow up there for me to do. Those are small tinkering around the edges with the existing Kellums Field, which is great. And I also hope, that we continue to produce some grander things we've discussed once we have the stormwater mitigation done. So thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Mayor. So we had our meeting on June 13th at the Northeast Community Center. And I'm just going to go over some of the highlights from the meeting and some of the projects we're working on right now. But in terms of public outreach, we've been going to the farmers market once a month. Our next visit there is going to be on August 19th from 8 to 11. And we will be distributing purple light bulbs for the Light Up the County Purple event at that venue. On August 31st, we will have the Glow Vigil at the North Beach Boardwalk. And there's a flyer that will be going out very soon announcing that. It will look like this via the town. But this will be, I think, the third year that we have had this. And the theme is We See You. And we are going to be recognizing first responders. And these will be the 2023 award winners from the county. Jason Fallon will be, their supervisor will be recognizing them and announcing them. And we will also have the announcement of the Overdose Awareness Memorial Sculpture Project, the announcement of the final selection of who will be doing that, the full-scale sculpture that will be placed in the Mark R. Fraser Sunrise Garden installed there. And so we're really excited about that. We have selected the 4 finalists for that project. They are Gary Jameson from North Beach, Ali Mursky and Christopher Duffy from Ashton, Maryland, James O'Neill from Edgewater, Maryland, and Thomas Sterner from Westminster, Maryland. All of them amazing artists. Really excited to see what their concepts are going to be. So they're going to make a scale model and write up what their concept is. The selection panel is going to be reviewing those and then making our selection, and then that will be announced by Mark Fraser at the event. And so we hope you can make it there. We've already provided them with the $1,500 check so they can start working on their models. And again, we're real excited to see how that progresses. There will also be the memorial reading of names, as in past years, as well as the memorial exhibit of the Lost Souls event at the garden. And we hope you can join us. We will have the local resource providers there as well to answer questions or provide more information to anybody who may want it. There's also going to be a flyer going out in the town's emails on where you can go to pick up purple bulbs this year. And again, we'll be at the farmers market on the 19th. And then we'll also be over here at Roland's Grocery on August 13th from 11 to 2, handing those out with a purple bag with resource provide information in it as well. Let's see. And I think that may, no, a few other outreach events I just wanted to mention. We will be at Taste the Beaches as well, providing information there. And we are hoping to be at the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department open house in October. And then some of our coalition partners are hosting Recovery Fest in Anne Marie Gardens on September 9th. Those are the highlights. Our next meeting is, let me find the right page, is August 11th at 6 p.m. over at the Northeast Community Center. I hope you, if you're interested, please let me know or just come on by and help out. We'd love to see you. Thanks.
Okay, great. Well, we have a couple new things going on. I had a meeting today with Holly and Jay to talk about planning a path to map around Chesapeake Beach to tie together the 3 envisioned pocket parks with the gardens from the Green Team so that we can make a, I don't know, Bay and Blossoms, Fish and Flowers tour around town for people who wish to walk around the town and see some of the things that are out there. Our next meeting is going to be July 31st, right here in Town Hall at 6:30. Hope to see somebody there.
Move to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Next 2 candidates, town council to consider appointing Rachel Larson Weaver to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
For a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Town council to consider appointing Amy Everett to the Board of Appeals.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Okay, next. Next two items. Highlight of the evening, if you will. You know, kept you waiting till 8:30, didn't we? You know, we got to be here. You got to be here. You know, before I read number 4 and ask for a motion, I want to a couple quotes on hunger that I enjoy. One is by Buzz Aldrin. If we can conquer space, we can conquer childhood hunger. The next one is one of my favorites. It was said by Anne Frank. Hunger is not a problem. It's an obscenity. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Thank you. And that will take me right into another lengthy sentence. Town council to consider providing a one-time capital improvement allocations of funds from the FY24 General Fund, ARPA, to address food insecurity in the amount of $100,000 to the Ladies of Charity, $100,000 to Bayside Baptist, in accordance with the December 15th, 2022 Town Council approval of $200,000 for food insecurity earmarked. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have some comments.
I'm going to get comments from the council, and I'll begin with Councilwoman Hartman.
I would like to say that I am thrilled that we are able to support these two organizations. We've heard about them quite a bit, and I think they're marvelous support for our community. Thank you for your service.
So yeah, I'm in support. I think they're both great organizations. So thank you very much for your service to our communities.
Yeah, thank you. My comments won't be so brief, but my comments apply to the next two items here, really.
If you could, would you want
First
to
item,
to
okay.
a little comment on the item that we're
Yes,
addressing
sir.
now?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Unless you really think this comment will save you from saying it 2 times, and that's
No, it's okay. I mean, well,
your call, sir.
yeah, it does. It
It's
does
getting late.
apply to both. And I am in support of both of these. We've discussed these. I mean, I have some concerns about the levels right now. Per Mr. Goldsmith earlier, you know, what's always unpopular is not always wrong, and what's popular is not always right. But I feel it's important for me to bring a little contrarian view to these awards for some good reasons. And my intent and aim is really at the future, and they're directed to my colleagues here at the dais. And I really want us to be able to consider what we're looking at over the next year and beyond. You know, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars to lay across these noble causes. And the entities are community building. The mayor spoke very eloquently about this stuff, and I second all of that stuff. Those are fabric of the community, strengthen these things, and these are very important. But equally important are amenities to our town citizens and the health of our financial position here. We're talking about collectively awarding $300,000 tonight, and this is to check ourselves moving forward here. On the heels of a dire straits financial report. That was a bomb that exploded in this town hall with the reserves. I'm trying not to overplay it, but we were shocked when we got that report. You know, so we're all kind of wait and see what the town hall's actions are going to be with that. In the meantime, we're considering sending hundreds of thousands of dollars to organizations in and outside of the municipal limits. We were told last week that they're predicting the water park's already going to operate at a loss this year, which means that that's ensuring transfer from the general fund to cover expenses. We've struggled and been unable to fund in advance the simplest amenity upgrades, some of which have been on the back burner for 6 years. I applaud the pocket parks. I'm in full support. I know we had the grant, and I appreciate the bid effort there, and I'm certainly on board with that. We haven't started budgeting for coastal resiliency improvements, which may cost an arm and a leg. I feel that it would be irreverent to recent serious Treasury reports that we've received to so easily release the 300,000 taxpayer dollars here. And so for these reasons, I can't agree to send those levels to these noble causes, not at those levels right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And that does cover both. You're right. And I'm going to react to that. The town of Chesapeake Beach is not in fiscal dire straits. We corrected the good councilman last month when he said that. Because this is a public meeting, I'm going to say it again. I mean, it was just a couple months ago when someone had a sign up there up the road saying, "Man, Mahoney's got 18 million in the bank. What's he doing with it?" So, you're wrong, sir. But having said that, you're here tonight, and I think it has to be perfectly clear that the town received $6 million in ARPA funds, and $100,000 is 1.5% of that. And I think we've all made it clear. 1.66 actually. I see you doing the math over there, Charlie. And I think it's important. I've said it quite a few times. When you talk about infrastructure, you talk about people. You talk about putting food in people's bellies. You talk about putting books in children's hands, in everybody's hands. So yeah, we cannot mix apples and oranges. And our general fund has been and will be in good shape. I mean, we cut the tax rate 7 years in a row. 7 years in a row. Clearly, we're not in financial straits. We're in clearly good shape. I don't have 18 million, but we're doing very well. Let's put it that way. And it was a blessing on top of how well we were doing to get $6 million from the federal government. So this is just I would support higher numbers, but I calm it down, and so obviously, like I believe the majority of council in total support of that. So
I do support this, and thank you for sticking around so late tonight. Thank you.
I will keep this very brief. I don't want to be in the business of trying to correct Councilman Morris, because I could very well be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong. I believe, and I'm happy to be fact checked on this, that the questions or concerns expressed about the budget were specific to enterprise funds, and that we should not be taking money from the general fund to cover that. So I believe that those two issues are separate. I'm happy to be wrong about that.
Correct.
And I will fully support these both of these items. I want to make the same comment that I made in the work session. The ARPA funding, which is absolutely not a windfall, should not be thought of as a windfall. The ARPA funding is there to provide support and a backstop for the challenges that COVID caused. I can't think of better support or backstops than food security. And I can't think of a better demonstration of civil society's need to support folks than funding a library, supporting what a library does. So to me, that's a valuable use of funds, and I support these. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
I think I actually agree with both Councilman Fink and Councilman Morris. All accounts. Our general fund is doing fine. Our enterprise funds, water park and utility funds specifically, not so much. In agreeing with Councilman Fink, these are ARPA funds that were delivered via the problems that we went through with the pandemic. So, I volunteered at a pantry, and I still do every Tuesday night that we don't have a work session. Have for 10 years. Chesapeake Cares Food Pantry. And I see the increase in food insecurity that occurs, whether it's individuals whose kids are getting out of school and therefore don't have free breakfasts and lunches, and they, increase their use of the pantry. I do understand that. And to be totally forthright, I think $300,000 going out in one evening is a lot. I do. If it wasn't for ARPA funds, I would have even more trepidation than I do now. The fact that these are ARPA funds and the nature of what Charlie talked about makes it easier to swallow. But what makes it difficult is that I do hope that this is a one-time like capital request, like that the library or the pantries will not come back for a capital request for like next year for another fundraising effort. Because in my experience being on this dais for 20 years, what happens is once you start approving requests for funds for nonprofit organizations, that stack just continually grows. It just grows and grows and grows. And so that is a concern. If it was not for ARPA funds and the fact of the nature of what those funds are, I would probably vote no. I really would, because it's not my place really, in my opinion, to vote yes from a taxpayer perspective. But the fact that these were ARPA funds generated through pandemic, I think it's an appropriate use of these funds. I really do. And so I'm supportive of it. But if it wasn't for ARPA, I would be voting no, probably, because we do have problems in our enterprise funds. And to say that we don't, so our general funds fine, our enterprise funds are questionable. And
Thank you
those
for
are
your
my comments.
comments. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
It passes. Congratulations, ladies. Thanks for all your work. Okay, next, before I read this, guess what? I have another quote, which I actually read last week, but this is a good one. This one's from Walter Cronkite, which one day he said, whatever the cost of our libraries, the price is cheap compared to that of an ignorant nation. So we'll get to number 5, which is the town council to consider providing a one-time capital improvement allocation of funds from the FY24 General Fund ARPA for capital improvements needed for the Twin Beach Library in the amount of $100,000. Is there a second? All in favor?
Comments?
We've heard your comment. You wish to make a-
Additionally, yes, please.
If you wish to make a
Very
comment,
short.
please.
Nobody else has comment
have a
about this
comment.
one?
Go ahead. Thank you, sir.
I just want to say again that I also support the library fund. I would say I love libraries. Wherever we have lived, and it's been in a couple of different countries, we've always joined the library, even when it was a foreign language. I think libraries are a great place for kids to go. I think libraries are a great place for adults to go. And I'm fully in support of this.
Right. Thank you. So I think this is a great cause, and I will likely donate some of my own money to it. But I don't think it's the best use of the town's funds. We already provide $45,000 a year to support the library, and we have provided support for at least 20 years. The library is going to be built. In fact, it's almost built, and it's being supported in part by our taxpayer funds in the county, including us. I realize this is a specific fundraiser for additional items, and I have no doubt that you're going to raise those funds. And then finally, we had discussions about how to use the funds formerly known as ARPA in the town. This was not on the radar. There were several things that were tabled at that time, and now this comes up, and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to do it. So for those, I'm not supporting this, and I'm not, and I don't support the amounts either. All right, thanks.
If I could just react to what, and you are aware that $45,000 comes off the town books next year. We were paying $45,000 in rent. Okay, we don't have to pay the rent for it anymore because they're not going to be there anymore. So it's sort of you accrue your money in 2 years. But anyhow, that's just my reaction, Councilman.
Yes, sir. That's definitely valid. We have supported the library to be in town. I've always voted for the budget to have those in there. The rent has gone up quite a bit over there over the last 10 years. But again, I'm just concerned about the levels, and it's not the thing itself there. So in short, here in closing, as the previous one was voted in tonight, predicting that this will be voted in as well, I'll be signing that ordinance, and I'll be happy for the recipients and the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam.
I mean, I have to agree again with what Keith said. These ARPA funds, these weren't on our radar, and that's a great point. These decisions are never easy. And the fact of the matter is that I think by having a library in North Beach and not in Chesapeake Beach, it does affect our tax property owners. By saying that, you know, if you have a real estate agent, they cannot say that Chesapeake Beach has a library. It's unfortunate. And I wish early on in the whole library discussion that the town had provided the town council an earlier opportunity to partake in those discussions, because we were brought in really late in the game. And I mean, if Greg and Keith think that a lower amount would potentially get their support, I would consider that at a smaller amount than the 100,000. So I can do a friendly amendment and say I'd like to change the amount to 75,000 and see if that would get support. Do I have a second?
Well, for one, I want to say that, you know, we need to recognize that the Twin Beaches, okay, when you look at the population of both towns, okay, the residents of Chesapeake Beach make up 3/4 of the Twin Beaches. And that tells me, I love libraries too. Worked in one for 6 years. 3/4 of the children in that library that are from the beach are from Chesapeake Beach. 3/4 of the adults are from Chesapeake Beach. I know Phil Fanschmidt across the street when he was the HOA president of Whitmer Key. He took a survey, and our senior citizens over there said they wanted to go to North Beach so they could get their steps in. You know, and I didn't realize at the time, now I do, how important steps are. Once I retired, I got that thing on. I got to get my 6,000 to 10,000 steps every single day. But yeah, I mean, you know, the big picture here is basically that, you know, 75% of the children in that library are going to be our children from Chesapeake Beach. And we need to ensure that we take the high road and, you know, give it a decent level of support and be recognized for 50 years. Part of our legacy that this is a council that, you know, supported that. So having said that, okay, I think that I think we need to vote.
What about an amendment that I just put up? I don't know if
I
I'll
don't
get a
encourage an
second.
amendment. If you wish to make one,
I
that's
would like
fine.
to make an amendment to lower the amount to 75,000.
And
I just need a second or not.
lack of a second.
I was just trying to find a good space here. Can I offer an amendment that probably won't be accepted, but it's along the
Oh, wait,
lines of.
hold on. I'm the mayor. I'm the mayor. Thank you. I was kind of just looking at the whole side of the room. We have an amendment. We'll work that amendment. You have another amendment, we'll work that amendment. That's the way we do it. Okay. Right now, for the First Amendment, we don't have a second. So having said that, there's no second to that one. If you have another amendment,
Thank you.
make it serve. First Amendment died for lack of a second.
Thank you. I would like to amend the ordinance to be $45,000 per year for 2 years in a row. That equals our level and our commitment currently. Thank you. Do I have?
Lack of a second. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the amount of $100,000. All in favor, say aye.
Do we have a second on that motion?
We have,
Just confirm.
yes, we're back at the, yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
How many noes do we have? 2? Okay, it passes 4-2. Thank you. Next, town council to consider awarding a contract to Windmill Farms an amount not exceeding $195,000 from the FY24 General Fund Capital Improvements line item to complete 3 capital improvement projects. 1, a pocket park on 29th Street. 2, pocket park at the B Street overlook. And 3, the 26th Street trail connection. The town will be reimbursed $150,000 through the state of Maryland grant funds. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Town council to consider approving and FY24 Chesapeake Beach Water Reclamation Treatment Plant Capital Improvement allocation of funds in the amount of $22,051 to purchase materials from FSI Industries to add a platform to the generator for safety reasons.
Second with comment.
I'll hear your comment, sir.
The on this particular item, I know we nearly paid quite a bit more for it. And this is in my opinion. The reason we nearly paid quite a bit more for it is because we seem to have some issues with exacting multiple competitive bids when we're dealing with large expenditures. After a review of the breakout of the current proposal, I still feel we're overpaying a little bit for that, but I certainly vote yes for it. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. At this time, is there anybody in the public who wishes to make a comment? Mayor Fraser.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'd like to thank the entire council for their consideration of the library's request. And in particular, although you didn't realize it at the time, I'd like to thank Councilman Jaworski and Mayor Mahoney for your kind words regarding my former son-in-law, Bill Mills.
Yes, you're welcome, sir. For those who don't know, our local phone here that I mentioned, Billy Mills, is he's the father of your granddaughter. I got that right? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, council lightning round. I will begin with Councilwoman Bodine.
Yeah, I just want to once again encourage you to the Become a Walk. That's going to be September 23rd. I found that conversation to be quite moving, and can't think of a better event to support. Thank you.
Just a couple things. Put Taste the Beaches on your calendar. If you don't have it on your calendar, I don't mean to steal your thunder. I'm sure you're going to say it anyway, so it's it's okay. It's just been an event that gets better and better every year. And this whole thing over at Abner's, I'm going to be there. What time does it start? Noon. I'll be there at 11. So I'm looking forward to that. If you haven't read the Coastal Resiliency Report, read it. If that meeting is not crowded, what's the date of the meeting? If that meeting is not crowded, that means you did not read the report. So I strongly encourage folks to read that report.
August 10th, 6 p.m.
August 10th, 6 p.m. I just go through this, civility and community, the things that we talked about tonight, great discussions, library, food security, mental health, and I'm lumping, the opioid awareness along with the, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the organization, but the suicide prevention group that was here. That's just critical. And so that makes me feel good. It makes me kind of happy to be sitting up here tonight. So I'll end with another Walter Cronkite quote. Thank you and good night. Okay.
That was good.
Once again, he stole most of my comments, so I'll just echo one more. Thank you, ladies, for sticking with us tonight, and I'll see everyone at Taste the Beaches.
And I'm going to make a comment before I go the other way. And it'll be my last quote of somebody very famous for the night. When I was first elected mayor, I went up and I visited Senator Miller, which is, it's just something to be in that office he had. Mayor Fraser, I'm sure you've been in his office, very impressive. And so I asked him for advice, and he said, Pat, he said, it doesn't matter who voted for what. He said, what matters is, did you hit the finish line? And tonight, we hit the finish line. This group of 7 right here hit the finish line. We got both requests done. That's very important. And that's kind of what makes this council been so good for 7 years. We don't agree on everything, but in the end, we all come together and we hit the finish line, touchdown. So thank you.
I want to offer my sincere congratulations on the award for the recipients tonight. I sincerely mean that. I'm looking forward to those associations growing, and the library is spectacular over there. Something that I wanted to mention about the small town feel. For a decade prior to this administration, I participated in town halls where the council was allowed to exchange comments with public speakers. These were easy points in the meeting where the council easily served and engaged the public. That's always been something important to me, is engaging the public. This was very small town like. And for however the reasoning is, we've put an end to that. I'm not, I'm a fan of not having too long of meetings as well, and I can ramble sometimes. I apologize for that, but I'm trying to serve the best that I can. Today, the curbs now include barriers placed in asking questions of and associating with town staff, and to only engage the mayor and the administrator in all actions pertaining to the town. It just doesn't feel very small town like to me, and it actually seems kind of cold and isolated. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's great to see a lot of folks and a lot of faces. I realized I was remiss earlier when I gave out my report out on the Twin Beach Awareness Coalition to thank, of course, all of our committee members, all of our coalition members. They do a ton of work, and they're the ones that really make it happen. But I especially wanted to recognize Sandy Mattingly. She is a driving force. If you've ever met her, you know what I was talking about. And really, the sculpture project is her baby, and she's been doing a fantastic job with that. So I just wanted to recognize her and the rest of the members. So thank you again.
And I'm going to talk about the water reclamation treatment plant.
Thank you.
Every month, we review the treatment plant, and I know a whole lot more about it now than I did when I started. And recently, I was seeing some articles about how the water in the Chesapeake Basin is improving. And my son works for the USGS. He's a water expert. And I asked him what's going on. And he said, he's mentioned that, billions of dollars have been spent by the government working with farmers and local communities as far as improving their habits vis-a-vis improving our water. These are great. They're making wonderful strides forward, but it's going to take 10 to 20 years because that's how long it takes the water to go from fields and houses through the table. And we have to get through all the bad past practices before the clean water comes through. In the case of the water treatment plant, the improvements are instantaneous. And the main reason that the bay is in better shape now than it was years ago is because of towns like Chesapeake Beach, North Beach, and Calvert that participates in the water treatment plant putting out clean water. As far as with respect to the phosphorus and nitrogen, all the cuts have been made. The major cuts have been made today because of the work we've done there. And I am just thrilled and proud that our town and its partners contributes to this impact by diligently managing and supporting our own water reclamation treatment plant. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Yep, I'm up there. Yeah. Second. Aye.
Aye.